So, Paul Sporer, the reason you are here, you are a battle royale monster. Have you even played a head-to-head game
Yes,
this
I've
year?
played a good handful actually. I'm sitting at a 1633 and building up. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Nice.
I'm working on it. But no, I play a lot of BR because I find it translates best on streams. That's just my your mileage may vary there, but I really enjoy it, and I didn't know if I would. I watched all the streams that they had in February and March getting ready for the game, and they're talking about this 3 inning mode, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like that much. And it turned out I loved it, and it's the draft. I absolutely love
Mhm.
drafting. I didn't play Madden last year, but I saw the draft champions things on certain streams and YouTube channels that I watched. And I was like, oh man, I wish the show had something like that. And then boom, they did. So I've loved the mode. I really have.
Yeah, so we have Chris here is going to do a draft, and as we go through it, we'll just kind of talk draft strategy and stuff. I know we've been seeing some weird stuff. I saw today a guy had his pitcher hitting in the
Mm-hmm.
sixth spot.
I've done that.
We've all seen the go with bronze starting pitcher, go all bronze starting pitchers, which is another viable option. Let's just kind of see. We'll kind of see where it goes with this
Yep.
draft.
Let me go ahead and start this, and we'll talk out all the choices. Obviously, 1,500 stubs down the hole. Okay, so my first round here, you'll see I have the 95 Gwyn that you get for the feed mission, the 97 2011 Matt Kemp, great hitting, decent fielding. Oh, I already know who I'm picking. The 99 Mike Schmidt, who has amazing power numbers, 95, 97 against righties and lefties, high clutch, and just above 90s fielding and everything. And then the Diamond Arrieta, the recently Diamond Jake Arrieta, who obviously we all know is having an amazing year and can die in a fiery plane crash if he really wants to, because he's not doing that with the Orioles.
Well, it's not his fault they can't develop pitchers.
It was Rick Adair's fault, and he is well off of the team now, so I'm very happy about that.
The Cubs should trade for Dylan
Right?
Bundy.
And maybe even Kevin Gausman. He's not quite a bust yet, but they don't develop pitching. So just get Kevin Gausman up to the Cubs. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I can't take an area out of there. And the reason, TJ mentioned the all bronze pitching staff. One of the reasons is if you use your diamond and gold rounds on it, you got to get a 1 in 5 chance of even getting it. You could honestly get through upwards of 10 games if you get unlucky and not even use that ace. So honestly, he's not even a consideration for me at that point. Sometimes in the diamond round, I'll entertain a reliever. I know the Joe Nathan and the Jonathan Grapplebond pop up there from time to time, and I'll consider them. But for me, it's 99% hitter, and then I just kind of vary between the options that are available. Stocker's usually an auto pick, but then from there, I like to just kind of see how I'm feeling, and if it's a guy that I haven't used, like I haven't used that Gwyn or that Schmidt, so I'd be choosing between those two.
Yeah, I've actually used that Kemp, and I've really liked him. I don't like the Schmidt only has, I think it's like 59 contact.
And that was his
righties.
flaw last year too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, but huge power. So if you make contact,
It's
you're going to be
gone.
getting it pretty far.
And I love the defense on the Schmidt. I will say I really like the Gwyn, highest contact in the game, 99, 98. Enough power to go out with it. 99 vision, so whoever I'm playing against is going to give me a 15 pitch at bat. Obviously, we did a little testing. The vision rating has nothing to do with your PCI. It actually controls the area around your PCI when you get foul balls, and it goes up against the K per 9 for the pitcher. So I really like guys that can, eventually even a human player is going to make a mistake. So if I can keep fouling balls off, and he's got the pretty good fielding in terms of, pretty good. Elite fielding, 93 speed, 93 fielding, 92 arm strength, 86 speed. I mean, for me, it's the Gwyn. The only thing I worry about is, you have so many outfielders you can get to possibly plug in that I might not get another third baseman with this kind of numbers.
But that Gwyn is just so filthy, and you got him automatic leadoff guy. You can really put him in center if a better center fielder doesn't come about, even though his primary is right field. I really like that Gwyn.
Yeah, so do I, actually. So Gwyn is the pick. I'm going with Sporer. I'm absolutely saying Gwyn's the pick. We have just picked Tony Gwyn for our team. Next up is a bronze round. We've got Brad Miller at shortstop. I enjoy Brad Miller as a contact guy, but and he has second base and outfield eligibility, but his defense is not going to do it on my team. We have a bronze David Freese, again on a high inside edge. Not sure how long that'll last. We have JP Arancibia, possibly a backup catcher. Really good power for a catcher, but not great defensively or anywhere else. And then a starting pitcher, Sean Manaea, for the Oakland Athletics. Again, lefty, which is always good because most teams build up their teams, I think, against righties, and then try to alter their team against lefties once they get in a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go with Manaea here, is my choice, only because he's a bronze. I don't think the other three guys are going to start for me or play bench for me. Like, I don't have any reason to bring those guys off the bench. And chances of me actually getting Manaea are 1 in 5, as Paul said.
Yeah, and one thing on the Freeze, I actually weirdly kind of rake with him, and he does get the IE boost a lot. So,
plus 16s.
Yeah, he'd be a consideration for me here as well, but I'm totally cool with going with the bronze lefty because I almost always go all bronze starters. Sometimes I'll mix in a silver just for fun if it's somebody I really like. Like Walker, I got a couple times when he was still silver, and I said, you know what, I'll do it. And one BR, I actually got lucky. I got him 3 games in a row. It was awesome. But yeah, it'd be Freeze or Manaea for me, and I'm totally cool with Manaea.
Yep.
Yeah, much like Paul, I also rake with David Freese for no apparent reason.
You know what, then? You know what?
Go with
no, I like the plus 16.
You passed on Mike Schmidt.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with Manaea because there's a lot of guys with third base eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and Paul,
yeah,
Manaea, so.
I do. I'm very excited to watch him kind of develop this year. It's going to be bumpy because he does have control issues, but when he's on, I think we've already seen in spurts for kind of 3 innings here, 2 innings there with Manaea that he can be really good.
So I'm chuckling, and I think TJ's chuckling too, because the gold round comes up, and here's our picks. You ready for this? The 2014 Jacob deGrom, the legend Carlton Fisk, who I actually have on my Diamond Dynasty team and like a lot. But I'm still going for the Berra for the defense. The 2006 Rookie of the Year Ryan Howard, monster. But monster. We were just talking about him, the 2011 David Freese, who is a huge contact guy and good enough defense. Now the question here is, with a 95 clutch and somewhat okay power, do I go with the 2011 David Freese, who's pretty good across the board? I'm not going to have to sub him out lefty or righty, or Ryan Howard, who can hit everything.
And it just eviscerates righties, that Ryan Howard does.
Yep.
I'd go with the Freeze.
34 vision.
I'd go with the Freeze. Yep.
34 vision.
I'd honestly go with the Freeze.
Gotta go Freeze.
I'm with you guys. And also considering first base, again, a 91 third baseman is, I feel like I'm going to be able to get more at first base and hide some defense for some pop anyway. So,
agreed.
Freese, the World Series David Freese is now our third baseman.
And that deGrom is I'm amazing with that deGrom in head-to-head. But again, those are 9-inning games. This, you're going to pitch, what, 1, maybe 2 innings?
Yeah, maybe 2. One thing I've noticed, by the way, is that when I play people who do draft a gold or diamond starter, they will push them further just to feel like they got the usage out of it. And I love that because they get tired and they'll still pitch through it. And I almost always end up taking advantage of that. And by the way, it looks like we got a first baseman now that we could easily go with. And
absolutely.
Not just as good, but perfectly useful, especially from a bronze round.
But he's got him. I think he's got better power than.
With a 5-star, he should have 99, right?
He absolutely does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be, what, are you in the 50s to 60s on contact with the 5-star?
Yeah, it would be 57 and 62 for contact.
He's still a beast. I highly recommend Chris Carter.
I think he is, yeah. Like I said, I like the Aoki. Aoki, when we did a roundtable at OS about hitters that absolutely kill you, my answer was Nori Aoki. I can't get him out. I've never got him out in this game. But I think you guys are right. Chris Carter is the move.
By the way, how do you guys feel in general about the inside edge? Because I absolutely love it. It encourages using different players, and that's my favorite thing about it. But how do you guys feel?
Yeah, I initially thought I was going to hate it more than anything on this planet. And I like it a lot because I'm using a lot of different guys that I wasn't going to use before. Like Russell Martin would never have played for me, and now he plays the majority of the games.
That's the fun part.
And I can't.
Except the only thing I don't like is all of my relievers are always on
right.
Yep.
That kills me. I haven't touched Jake McGee since I got him, and he's always a 1-star. And Will Smith is another one. And obviously those are two key lefties. I do have Chapman, which helps, but I want another lefty in there in addition to Sale and Chapman. And I look at those two guys, and they're almost always 1 or 2-star, and it drives me nuts.
And the only thing that I hope they upgrade next year, obviously it's the first year, I want to see it continue to evolve. I want to see more of the lefty-righty matchup in terms of, let's say, an inside edge is because a guy's facing a lefty, then put his contact versus lefty and his power versus lefty up and leave his righty alone.
That would be cool if it was more dynamic. I agree.
Exactly. I think, and like I said, let's say let's say Bryce Harper has 6 walks in a game, and that comes up next year against the same pitcher. I want to see his discipline maybe go up, even though discipline doesn't have a lot to do with head-to-head games. So stuff like that. But I do love it. Like you said, the fact that you change your lineups constantly, even like I said, if you're using any of the live series players, it's perfect. So at this point, I'm looking at Conforto, and I know how many inside edge boosts he gets.
Yep.
And he rakes righties.
Did you name all these
guys?
I didn't.
Lorenzo Cain.
We got Lorenzo Cain, Michael Conforto, Jonathan Villar, and Kyle Hendricks. The throwback Lorenzo Cain.
And the only reason I'd be leaning Cain is the speed and the defense, the fielding reaction. Yeah.
Worst case, you get another center fielder later, and Cain's your speed guy coming off the bench.
Exactly. I like that. I love Conforto in this game. I think he's going to continue to get upgraded. But I do think Cain is probably the move here.
Yeah.
In terms of.
Let's do that.
Yep.
Yeah. And Villar's a nice piece if you got Villar like 10 rounds from now as just a random guy to use that can play any position on your bench, which is hilarious because now Brock Holt's in this round. Villar's that guy that you can just stick him on your bench, and doesn't matter who you have to hit for or anything, you're gonna have him that's gonna work out going into play defense for you.
And this is really cool because we're getting the utility guy, lefty bronze. So I like David Huff a lot, only because of his curveball and changeup are both really junk ball pitches that play well on line. I like Descalzo only because of his arm strength. It allows him to play all 3 positions without a problem. I do think Holt's probably the move here with the contact and the eligibility.
Yeah, that eligibility really works. And, we got to stick it to Carl, dude, who's in here and is not much of a Brock Holt fan because he was going to oust Brian Dozier from the All-Star game until an injury got Dozier on the roster. So Carl, dude, has always had it out for Brock Holt, so we really got to take him to stick it to
I think Brock Holt's the move. Brock Holt, welcome to the team. Oh, Mooney. No, okay, so it's Munenori Kawasaki, Derek Dietrich, who is just destroyed. Who was the catcher?
Dietrich.
Yeah, no kidding. Travis Wood, another that's a relief lefty, and Wandy Rodriguez, the normal Wandy, not the flashback.
I'm weirdly dope with normal Wandy.
Yes,
I get him a lot because of bronze pitchers, so I get some of these weird bronze guys, and I've actually gone 3 innings with him 2 different times, and he just dominated for some reason.
Yeah, so I think Wandy's the pick here, and just as a heads up for your Diamond Dynasty teams, that 85 Wandy is pretty good.
Yeah, and I think doing that set for him is strange cheap as well. Let me, I'll look that up while you're doing
Go right ahead.
This. Unless you want to do that bunchies, then you could have gone with the other guy.
All right, all right, here we go with this is going to be an interesting choice for me. So we have the 89 Aaron Hill, that is the Toronto 40-man collection reward. I did some looking into him. Power-wise, he is the second biggest power threat at second base behind the Dan Uggla, the flashback Dan Uggla.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a beast at the plate, 70 clutch. Arm strength worries me a little bit at 56 for turning double plays. We have the Brian McCann that we spoke about earlier, 82 fielding, 86 arm strength, and rakes pretty much both sides. Weirdly, hits better against left. Well, not weirdly, that's his real life split too. He's always hit lefties better. So we have the Raleigh Fingers, who is a closer, which probably is going to help us considering the way our starting rotation is shaken out. And the Matt Latos, which is the San Diego feed collect, or not feed, the San Diego Command, who's a really good pitcher in his own right, but again, 1 in 5 chance. Why are we going to waste the gold?
We
did not get a catcher
right?
already.
No
That's where this is.
Or
well, second baseman. Remember, Holt's in left field right now, but Holt could very easily slot into second base. Yeah.
I kind of want to go Raleigh Fingers, just because I haven't used them, but I could also see easily going with McCann.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same realm there. Honestly, I think you can make a case for Hill, McCann, or Fingers. That Fingers is really good. I don't love his pitch mix with basically 2 fastballs and a slider, sinker, 4-seam slider, but he's so good. And that 95 clutch, 93 break, I think it was 79 or 77 hits per 9. Mm-hmm. That's a really good card to kind of start off the bullpen, or at least be the bullpen ace. And because relief fatigue doesn't carry over in BR, you can literally use him every single game.
Yep.
And he's got 50 stamina, which you don't see from a lot of closers. Usually they're like
exactly. So you can get 2 innings out of him if the lineup works in your favor, where he doesn't come up in that next inning.
Yep. And one thing I want to bring up that Paul said that I really like to key in on is he said 2 fastballs and a slider. When batting, that's how I look. A lot of people are like, well, how do you look at a 5-pitch pitcher when you're batting? Well, yeah, you take your 4-seam, your 2-seam, your sinker, and your riding fastball, and condense them all into a fastball. So the guy's only really got 3 pitches. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you brought that up, Paul, because that's a huge pro tip, that when you're facing a pitcher with multiple fastballs, don't worry about 4-seam, 2-seam. Worry about, hey, it's going to be a fastball. They're pretty much the same speed. I'll worry about contact once the pitch gets put out.
Yeah, break it up into speed levels more than actually worrying about each individual pitch. And like you said, if you got 4-seam, 2-seam, sink, and then slider, curve, the guy has 3 pitches: fastball, 3 different varieties, and then 2 breakers. So off speed stuff two times, hard stuff 3 times.
Yep.
Yeah, in the chat right now, Carl Dude and Matt Foley are not the hugest fans of Raleigh Fingers. Reminds me a lot of the Dennis Eckersley card last year.
Crushed that card.
Sounded great on paper, but just in games, just like Raleigh Fingers, 2 fastballs and a slider. Did he have a sinker?
I think he might have been.
I think it was 2-seamer.
Yeah, I think it was 4-seam, 2-seam, slider. I could not wait for people to bring him in. It was the best thing ever. I knew I was going to win the game, or at least get it tied, because for some reason I just killed Dennis Eckersley. So that's a fair point against Fingers. So we could go with the McCann. Obviously, we need first and second. We could go with the McCann or the Hill, although Chris did bring up that good point about Hill's defense at second. So I really think it's down to McCann and Fingers for us.
Yeah, I think it's McCann. I love being able to have controlling the run game with the catcher, not having to worry so much about using the pitcher. Because let's be honest, we all don't always think about that. So let's go ahead and go with the McCann.
We got really good balance in our lineup now too. 3 lefties, 3 righties.
Yeah, I love that. By the way, good pickup on that. Okay, so we have the 71 shortstop Mike Morse with good contact and decent arm strength with left field eligibility. Cliff Pennington, another utility guy with decent defense. Louis
Ladybird.
Yeah. The Louis.
I don't like this. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not a real fan. The Louis Coleman. If you've seen his slider, it's pretty hard to hit.
Yeah, 99 break. I think that's what's Chichi Gonzalez's pitch mix?
Fast slide, 2-seam change, but high hits over 9.
Yeah, he's really hittable. Honestly, I think it's that Coleman.
Yeah. And the other thing about the Coleman is the 79 K over 9 again affects the foul balls for when they're swinging at the slider too, so they won't be able to foul off the slider. So
yeah,
I think Coleman's the move.
That's a good. Whoa. I didn't see. Oh, Chichi has an 88 hits per 9. It's his Ks that are terrible. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, you're gonna get put into play by Chichi. So
if you got weaker defense, that's another thing to consider. You know, you are building a team. You're not just getting everything that's the very best or whatever. You got to be smart. We do have good defense we could afford, but I think Coleman was the right play there. He's kind of a bronze beast, to be honest, with that 99 break and 77 K9.
Yep. We're looking at Albus Diaz. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. And there you go. And it's going to be a big thing because he's going to keep getting boosted, I think, too.
He is absolutely raking, and it's insane what the Cardinals are able to do with their guys. The way they bring them up, and and I talked about this today on the podcast. The way they bring them up at peak is so impressive. You very rarely see teams able to do that so consistently that they just happen to bring the guy up and they're already kind of at their peak. Now, Ledmus Diaz was a guy that not too many of us really knew about. I didn't know about him coming into the season. He became prominent because Johnny Peralta got hurt, and they're like, well, who you got for a backup? They went out and got Ruben Tejada, who's a glove-only garbage bag, and then they had this Aledmus Diaz guy who did so well that he rendered Ruben Tejada expendable, and now he's just absolutely crushing the ball. So I do think we could see Diaz at least go up to silver. I doubt he's going to get up to gold because he'd really have to keep it up, but I think silver is imminent for sure for Aledmus Diaz.
Yep. The other picks here are Johnny Giavotella, second base for the Angels. Good vision, good contact, not a whole lot else. Decent clutch, actually, too. Vizcaino, the current closer for the Braves, who is sitting at a 99 velocity and an 80 Ks over 9.
Huge fan.
That's a pretty good one. And then this you got.
It's funny. Go ahead. Yeah, it's funny that Aroldis Vizcaino and Raleigh Fingers have the same pitch mix, but Vizcaino's got so much velocity that it's almost worth it to take him.
Agreed, especially because you're talking about a silver and a bronze round too. We happen to get lucky there, even though it's not the greatest pitch mix. It's very workable.
And apparently, this game wants me to take Kyle Loesch at some point because I've seen him like 3 times. So
I love when that happens. It's like they're like, come on, take him, please, please, please. No, nobody wants Kyle Loesch. That's why he's still a free agent.
Yep. Please don't sign him, Baltimore. Dan Duquette, if you're listening. So going back,
Detroit.
Yeah, right. So Jonathan VR back again. High speed. We do need a shortstop. Defense scares me a little bit, but in a 3-inning game, I might be able to hide him. We've got Starlin Castro with shortstop eligibility. Better defense, but it's going to take that 5% hit for moving him over. Pedro Strop, beast for a silver reliever. Yeah, and then Hellickson, who was always available for trade and franchise, but okay. Not a fan of his pitch mix. I don't like his curveball at all. I think we're between Castro. Even though I love Villar speed, I love Castro's defensive upgrade, but I think Strop might be the pick here if we're going to continue to build this.
Yeah, it's Castro or Strop for me. And honestly, I really like building a huge bullpen, and it goes in tandem with that bronze pitching staff that I think you really need to focus on it. And we still have, I think, 6 silver rounds after this, and I guarantee one of them will probably have a gold reliever at some point. So we'll get another beast. But this is just another solid guy, Strop is, to get into that that bullpen, and that gives us 3 really useful guys: Coleman, Vizcaino, and Strop. And we don't even have our relief ace just yet.
Gotcha. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm going to restart the share play since we're streaming through TJ here.
Yeah, make that Strop pick, and then we'll be golden.
Share play has stopped, and you should be coming back in now, good sir.
Yep. We are spinny thing, connecting to the host PS4. Yeah, so if you're streaming with someone else and you both want to see the video and not have to wait for Twitch to pick it up, do share play and just share your screen and don't give me the controller. Actually, you could have just given me the controller. I can make all these pictures.
So, again, we were just talking about it. Trey Turner pops up. Okay speed, or good speed, okay contact, not much else, decent fielding if we really needed him. One thing I don't like is it's only a shortstop, no extra eligibility. Jed Jorko, again, okay. Pretty decent across the board for a bronze in terms of contact and power. Tyler Thornburg, who, again, another one of those guys with a pretty big off-speed pitch in terms of his curveball, as a bronze. And then Kyle Kendrick, who we could probably hide, sinker, cutter, change, slider guy. I do like the movement. I'm not sure how I feel about a cutter slider both on the same pitcher. So what do you guys think?
I say we take our chances with Trey Turner at short. But that's just
and then if it works out to where these silver rounds either offer a nice silver guy or we get lucky with some golds and it happens to be a shortstop, could always move him to the bench and he's a speed guy, and I always like having speed on the bench.
Agreed. Trey Turner works for me. Let's move on to the next one. It is going to be another bronze round. We do get Brett Laurie, big time arm strength at second base. Let's see here. Good contact contact power across the board is Brett Laurie. The 58 fielding is going to hurt you at some point, but maybe not in a 3-inning game. Felipe Rivero from the Nats, a 76 lefty. We do need some lefties. He's got pretty good stats across the board, nothing crazy. 3-pitch guy. Josh Tomlin for the Cleveland Indians. Again, fastball cut, curve change, pretty average across the board. And Tyler Duffy from the Minnesota Carl Dudes. Again,
3 fastballs and a curveball.
So
he's automatically.
I like that Rivero. I've used it in BR specifically, and we do need a lefty. I kind of like it.
So okay, yeah, I'm okay with the Rivero. And I'm not even, like I said, I don't want Brett Laurie. I just can't stand him. So I think his time in Toronto killed me. So Jose Ramirez, second baseman with eligibility of shortstop and left field. Good vision, not much else. What was his speed? 63. Okay, so Alexi Amarista, San Diego second baseman with eligibility everywhere. Another Brock Holt.
Everywhere.
Yeah, with 77 speed and 78 vision. Steve Geltz from Tampa Bay, relief pitcher. 94 hits over 9 and 99 break. Fastball, slider, splitter.
That's not bad.
And Jordan Lyles of the Rockies, 5-pitch guy, slider, curveball, change. Nothing outstanding. Really low hits over 9, K over 9.
I kind of want to go with one of the players.
Geltz is another kind of budget beast, especially if you're good at pitching in terms of control, whether you use analog pulse or meter. If you can hit your spots pretty well, Geltz is useful because his only real flaw is command with the low BB9 and control, but otherwise he's pretty solid for a bronze especially.
Right. The other thing that I'm starting to worry about just a little bit is we have 2 starting pitchers right now, and we've got 4 of our bullpen filled up. We have 6 silver levels left and only 4 bronze after this one. So I'm not worried about our bench as much as I am filling our bullpen up with bronzes when we're not going to be using our starting rotation, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think Geltz is still the pick here, but after this,
go with Lyles though, because you also don't want to. You want to be careful. Sometimes they'll jam you up. They'll give you a silver round full of starting pitchers, and you have to take one. Now it wouldn't be the end of the world. It's not like when you get that with a gold, but I could see going Lyles here just to get another starter going, so that we ensure that we get a full bronze rotation.
Right. Yep, I think I love the Geltz pick. I think especially if you're looking for somebody deep and around, but I think Lyles is the pick here only to, again, keep the rotation going. Oh, jeez.
Fancy.
So
fancy.
I think I know the pick here, but we're going to go through it anyway. We have the 2011 Danny Espinosa. Oh, why did I? No, the card looking at it. Danny Espinosa, who is good power, good against lefties. Terrible contact against righties.
I don't like that card at all.
Yeah.
I'm rarely ever gonna say this, and also I love that Chris Sale card. I think Daniel Murphy.
Murph's a beast, and we need a second baseman. I mean, I can hear it. That Sale's usually an auto pick, and I'm sure the chat. Yeah, I already see Carl saying you got to do that. Little dude saying we need lefties. So
I even like Volquez, but I think we got to go Daniel Murphy with this.
I'm fine with it. I would go Sale. I'm a snap Sale guy, but also 5-star for Murphy. He just rakes. So yeah, I'm cool with it.
I think we're gonna go with Murphy, and I'm with Carl, dude. Sale will never leave my bullpen in Diamond Dynasty specifically because of his motion. But yeah, I think I think we're gonna go with Daniel Murphy here.
Did you see what Carl mentioned there? I actually saw this in one of his games. He hit a 3-run homer with Chris Sale, that relief Chris Sale there, as he was down big time too. And he starts his comeback with a 3-run freaking homer from Chris Sale because Carl, dude, is the luckiest dude in the world. He just hits power swing all day long and gets lucky.
Pitchers
they really are. Well, part of it is that the way people pitch against pitchers too. They will throw meatballs because they don't expect damage, and so if you put good contact on it, you're going to get rewarded. A lot of times it's base hits, not necessarily 3-run bombs, but if you hit power swing all the time, like and you're a lucky bastard like Carl dude, then yeah, you get a 3-run homer every once in a while.
So we got Adam Warren, relief pitcher, who has a good break on his slider and curve. Matt Cain, Ubaldo Jimenez, who I really want to homer pick, but I'm not going to because I think Joe Kelly might be the pick here due to his velocity, even though he's a 3 fastball guy. I do like the Cain, but I think I like the Joe Kelly a lot.
What were Kane and Jimenez?
Jimenez is a fastball, slider, splitter. Yeah, his 89 Colorado collection, which I will eventually one day get. Nolan Arenado, I'm coming for you one day. But it has a curveball involved in it and a higher speed. But Cain's is a 5-pitch guy with a 12-6.
He's got the 12-6 in the slider. I kind of want to go that way, but I'm perfectly fine with Joe Kelly if that's how you want to.
Speaking of that flashback, Ubaldo, Carl, just as I was about to say that, he puts it in the chat. Yeah, Carl swears by that flashback Ubaldo. So if you're trying to build a collection, you're wondering where to go, you got to get that Arenado anyway. So that's an awesome card for your third base. So if you need a third baseman and you're looking for a dominant starter, flashback Ubaldo is a beast, at least according to Carl.
Yep, Carl did back me up. The motion on his pitches is so sick with the velocity he gets.
He's so filthy.
Yeah. So we're going with Cain with this one. Again, I'm a huge Ubaldo fan, but I think we're going Cain with this one. Let's see what else we got here. Steve Cishek, Luke Hochevar, Patrick Corbin, and the Flash. Yeah, Hochevar. See, this is why we bring Sporer on, TJ, because there's no chance I'm pronouncing everybody.
Well, yeah, because
no, we'll bring Eno on next time.
No, Eno can't pronounce anybody. Everyone knows that, even Eno.
Steve Kishik.
Oh man, I can't even imagine what he would be saying. And I actually want to get him to say Luke Hochevar because I'm not sure if he knows it.
I thought it was Hochevar.
I mean, it's not implausible. Like a lot of times, people's pronunciations, you look at them, you're like, that makes sense. It's just I watch so much baseball that I learn these names. By the way, I think he's the pick. I love Hochevar in this game. He's got filthy stuff. Now, problem is he hits that thing that Chris brought up earlier, the relievers that take hits. He's one of them too, and it ticks me off because a lot of times he's 1-star, but he's so nasty that I really like him, and I think we should get him in our bullpen as well.
Can we just?
Can I just?
Yeah, we can.
Gavin
I love Gavin Floyd, Mount St. Joe, Baltimore kid.
No sinker. I feel like he used to have.
I think his two-seamer might take the part of that from when he was younger.
Yeah, I've noticed that with actually a lot of people that had sinkers last year might be two-seamers now.
Well, they changed. They went to official pitch effects, and pitch effects changed a lot of that. That's why you see a lot of the pitchers with different.
Oh, so that's why Yu Darvish has 8 pitches in this game, right?
You would wish, right?
Oh, maybe not.
That'd be sweet.
Well, the way the off-speed pitches work this year, when you want a curveball and it can go 8 different ways, maybe there you go.
I like that, by the way. Do you guys like that? Okay, because that's real life. That's a good simulation, and they're trying to go for simulation. And the breaking ball is not always going to be, even a 12-6 is not always going to be a perfect 12-6. So I love that there's variety with it.
Absolutely.
Don't screw up and take Corbin.
No, I'm not going to pick Corbin. I'm picking Hochevar, but I just want to give a heads up that this Corbin used to be gold. He is falling off the map right now in terms of his performance. And a lot of people will take the Cishek. Okay, sorry.
No. Finish off with the Cishek, and I'll follow up on Corbin.
A lot of people take the Cishek here because of delivery, but absolutely that Hochevar is the card to go with that 92-99 break. Even without his other numbers, when you go against a user, those two numbers together being above 90 is an auto pick for me.
Starting to think that maybe Corbin is ailing in some way because he's just getting beaten around the yard so badly that usually something is off at that point. And so that's what I'm going with. Maybe there's some sort of fatigue. I don't know what the case is, but I did not expect him to get beaten around the yard like this. And he deserved the downgrade that he got, no doubt.
Yep, absolutely. So Hochevar is the pick. Our bullpen is looking pretty good right now.
So
we got Alex Cobb, a personal favorite of mine in terms, I hate the delivery, but I love his changeup, especially being a primary pitch. Colin McHugh, I think is, I don't want to talk for Paul, a favorite of yours, Paul, or do you like or not like?
I do like Colin McHugh. I think he's one of those underrated guys. I did kind of buy in on him after that first season there because there were tangible changes behind his surge. Now, one thing that gets him in trouble is home runs, and anytime that you can look at Colin McHugh when he's struggling, you can usually isolate a handful of starts that will include a lot of home runs. He had that last year. He had a run, I want to say, late April to maybe early June, like a 10 start run where he gave up a ton of home runs, but then from the rest of the season on, kept the ball in the yard and really took off. Same thing's happening earlier this year with Colin McHugh. He's allowing a few too many home runs. That you see the 62 HR per 9. Honestly, it could be lower and it would be viable. I just got that Max Scherzer, and I really like it. Since we did get kind of boxed in here where we only have one relief option, if we don't like Joe Smith, I would say the Scherzer or the Cobb. I really like the Cobb too. The only thing about the Cobb, at least for me, I use meter pitching, and his delivery is so slow, and I'm way too impatient that I end up hanging a lot of those dirty changes. He's got a great changeup that when you can command it, it's filthy for Cobb. But if you're impatient like me, then you're going to hang a bunch of them.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of the guys with the sidearm deliveries, usually because I rake against
them. You see it so well?
But I actually, because I see it. We see it so much now. Like, if you can't hit Pat Neshek, what are you doing? Because you've seen him literally
exactly.
That's like it's funny. I was at the DMV this Saturday with my wife getting her license re-updated. Some guy tweeted at me. He's like, "Oh, R.A. Dickey threw 150 knuckleballs and I didn't get a hit off him." I'm like, you saw 150 knuckleballs. How did you not get a hit? Or work a walk, something.
That's crazy. Yeah, you gotta. At some point, you gotta give. Honestly, knuckleballs don't scare me. I see a Stephen Wright, Eddie Gamboa, or R.A. Dickey pop up in the lineup screen, and I'm unfazed by it.
So I think I'm going to go with the Scherzer here specifically because I haven't played with him before and I'm really excited to. I like the flashback, but I will say I've switched from part of this decision is I've switched recently from pulse to analog pitching, and the Cobb windup scares me for that. So definitely the Scherzer. Yep.
You used to use pulse?
That's funny.
I don't know anybody that's ever used pulse.
I used meter last year. I switched to pulse this year because before this year I was primarily an offline gamer, and I like the ratings to have an effect as well. So I just kind of went with it, as weird as it sounds. And then all of a sudden I said, I was watching Scott Cole, shout out Coltrane TV, and opened my eyes to analog pitching and it clicked for me. But I'm still getting used to it. I'm still every once in a while doing the old Tiger Woods swing where I go straight up. And I go, oh no, that's a fastball down the middle. That's probably going to get blown out of the yard. So
we almost have to go Doolittle here because we only have one lefty.
Yeah.
I like that Axford. I've done well with it. I'm not a huge fan of the Benoit or the Bias. I mean, they're fine, but I think the Doolittle. Not only are we getting a gold and a bronze and a silver round, but the lefty status is key here. So I think that's kind of a snap pick for us.
Yeah. If it was me, I think I would go Axford just because I've started using him and I've actually really liked him. I think I'm actually going to use Axford's windup for my Road to the Show player, cool. Kazuhiro.
Have you started him yet? We talked about him I remember we talked about him in the offseason that you were going to make him.
Yeah, I'm going to start him real soon. But I think after using Axford a couple times, I think I actually started using him in Battle Royale. I really liked his windup, so he's kind of a guy.
And I do want to. Carl Dude brought up a great question, and this is something that I'm doing like a homemade research project on about what pitching stats you look at. And Paul, talk about what you said because I love what you said in terms of those four stats.
So the first four that I always look at are velo, break, K9, hit 9, and honestly, it's really in that order because velo, break. If you got a guy with good velo and break, or at least excellent in one of them, I feel confident that I can then manipulate the pitches, whether it's blowing it by with the speed or putting in some dirty sliders or curveballs with the break, that I can make up for maybe a lesser K9 or hit 9. But obviously those two are also very important. Honestly, when you see those four, they're almost like the brackets because they're each on the outer edge. If those two bookends are high with those four categories, think of somebody like a Nate Jones. That he's got very high in all four of those, and then everything in the middle is not all that great, but he is absolutely nasty. So for me, maybe if you're simming, you would want to look at some of those stats in the middle. But when you're playing with guys, which we almost always are, I'm looking at those 4 first and foremost, and in that particular order.
Yeah, I agree with Paul, because especially online, you can usually get away with a fastball in a wrong spot as long as you're throwing it hard. Same with break. If you're going to miss, as long as you miss off the plate, you should be fine, as long as you have a decent catcher also, unlike Jared Saltalamacchia.
I learned that the hard way.
But yeah, I haven't really dug into the Ks per nine and hits per nine too much. That's what I'm letting Chris do all that research to.
And let me tell you the one thing that I've found out in terms of pitching, because this is going to be big considering most people play with meter. So the control rating of the specific pitch controls how fast the meter goes, and how big the spot is. The BB over 9, which I thought had minimal point on the actual game. Hold on, let me just double check, make sure that's right. Okay, I take that back. BB over 9 controls the speed of your meter. Control of the pitch has nothing to do with the meter at all. It's if you hit your meter spot on, how far off it can be. The pitch will go. So, like, let's say you hit your meter spot on, the control of that individual control of that pitch will decide whether it's going to hit the black or it's going to, stray from where you want it to go.
Wait, so now Carl brought up a really interesting point here, and this is a very recent change for me, because he's bringing up homer per 9, and I used to consistently look at homer per 9, and it would have definitely been in that 4-pack, and it maybe would have kicked out hit per 9 for me, but I was told that homer per 9 has almost no effect.
That was confirmed by Brian Ma for 2 years ago, that home run over 9 has no effect on gameplay. That being said, they have made changes to these ratings, and I'm trying my best to corner Brian, because Cardinal Bird and I have both had the same question.
Okay.
So home runs over 9, my contention from testing, and the problem is I don't have like a definitive test for it.
Sure.
Home runs over 9 directly correlates to the power number of the batter. Like, those are the two ratings that fight each other when you try to hit for power on a contacted ball.
Okay, because
sorry, I
was going to say, like, a Yimi Garcia is really good in those categories that I do look at, but then his homer per 9 sucks, and I was avoiding him. And then I think it was Cardinal Bird and maybe Method Man were having a discussion about homer 9, and the conclusion was that it doesn't really affect things. So I've kind of changed my tune on that. But if we learn that it has more impact than we believed, or that has evolved from those last 2 years, then it definitely becomes something that I put back at the forefront. Because again, prior to learning this knowledge, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I was putting homer per 9 very high in what I pay attention to, because the last thing you want in BR is to give up bombs. In Diamond Dynasty, 9-inning games, I'm a little bit more flexible on it, because you got time to come back, even if you give up a solo bomb or 2-run bomb or whatever. But in BR, any single run can be the end. So I don't want guys with bad homer 9. So I feel like we still got to kind of figure that out. I agree with Carl, though. He says that it should decrease a hitter's power rating. That's an easy fix. But until we know that it does, I'm kind of in between on it.
Yep. And like I said, from what I've found so far going through ratings, hits over 9 goes directly against contact. K over 9 goes directly against vision. Home run over 9 goes against power, should be. That's not confirmed. The first two are confirmed. I've absolutely seen that and can prove it. The walk over 9 and the control rating of the pitches, confirmed. I've done that. I've seen it with my own eyes. I have video evidence of that. I have no way to test the power number, because even if you power swing, the PCI changes, but the PCI is controlled on the hits and the contact number. So again, I'm going to corner Brian Ma at some point if I have to fly to San Diego myself and get a janitor's job at SCEA. I will find that man and find out exactly what it does.
Well, as soon as you find out, please let me know, because like I said, used to give it a lot of heed. Now I'm kind of, I give it a look, and I still would rather, it'll be a tiebreaker for me now, but it used to be a primary focus.
Yep, absolutely. Trust me, I will 100%. Everyone will know. I will sing from the mountaintops, but I think Doodle is still the pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And first
with eligibility.
You know what you could do? If
did you do that thing where you could flip him out?
Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but he's on my Diamond Dynasty team. But as you mentioned at the outset, I've been playing so much BR that I haven't been able to use my Diamond Dynasty team quite as much as I did last year. I'm still going to do it. There's going to be a situation where it's left, right, left that comes up. I'm going to put Doolittle in, pitch to that lefty, throw him over to first, bring in a righty for the one batter, and then bring him back in. I just want to do it. Even if it's not the most prudent move, I just want to do it to do it.
We have 4. We're kind of cornered in.
Yeah,
we got especially with 5 bench spots. I just don't get it. But I'm gonna go.
Good job, Dust.
At least we're wasting the common on a reliever.
That's true. We already do have a stack.
The Javi Garrett home run over 9, just like you talked about.
It'd be worse if we were waiting on a silver to be a gold or something. We just got that though with the Doolittle, so it's okay. But I've been in situations where I'm like, I just need one more good reliever, and then my common is 4 relievers.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to pronounce that guy's name?
Yes,
Michael?
And that's the stupidest spelling I've ever seen in my life.
Pick that guy just because.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that.
I also would like to smack his mother.
I mean,
Jesus.
Or his father, whoever came up with it. It's so stupid, though. I mean, now
I agree.
All you've got now is a kid who's never going to see his name spelled properly.
We have Kurt Casale, Brett Wallace, the flashback Adam Eaton, great against righties, and Brian Holiday. I don't know. I don't like either one of the catchers.
Go with either Casale or I would say go with one of them just because you want a backup catcher. But maybe Casale because he can do
punch.
Power.
Yeah, a little punch off the bat or off the bench. What's Eaton's speed? Only 59. Yeah, he didn't really start running until the last couple of years, and he's never been a huge burner, so 59 kind of fits. So I'm fine with Casale there, and that way they probably stop giving us catchers because we've got that locked in.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, wasn't Casale known for being a really good defensive catcher at one point?
He was a theoretical.
Paul wrote the SP guide, not the backup catcher.
He was a theoretical Tigers prospect, but it was one of those situations where it was because the Tigers didn't have many prospects, like they rarely do, and so he's actually kind of evolved more into a random backup power guy. His defense is modest, but coming up, he was supposed to be a catch first guy. I think he's just sold out for power. He had 10 homers randomly last year, including 4 against the Tigers. So I guess he was ticked that they got rid of him. But he's just not that special in general now.
And I will say, Carl, with Carl Dude said about he just mentioned in the chat regarding Wallace having his IE. I agree. I do like Wallace, but I would rather try to get somebody more well-rounded on the bench, which, again, putting that catcher in there gets the catchers out of our way. So, wow. So we've got Chris Davis, Oakland Athletics, always on inside edge high.
We have Paul Sporer.
Yes, Paul Sporer.
So, you know who else looks like Christian Yelich is Twin Gaming TV. He alleges that he doesn't see it, but he's crazy because I think he looks even more like him than I do because I wear my glasses all the time, so it's kind of hard to see for some people.
Gotcha. Joe Mauer.
Well, yeah, that's why you need the glasses.
So we had Joe Mauer again, high contact, decent vision guy.
No catcher secondary position. If he had catcher secondary position and we didn't just pick Casale,
by the way,
Joe Mauer.
How does freaking Carlos Santana still get his and Mauer doesn't? I have
no idea.
They brought everybody's position, and I like that, by the way. The more positions, the better. Like, let's mix it up. I love the Doolittle thing, but I'm cool with it. So how does Mauer not get his? Even if it's going to be bad defense, how does he not get it? I thought that was a miss. I know that they're going to have that Mauer catcher flashback come out, and that's probably Carl Dude's golden goose, as we were talking about the Ripken with you, Chris, the Chipper with you, Jay, and the Verlander with me. I know that Carl is desperately waiting for that Mauer to go crazy. But as far as this pick goes, we got 2 outfielders who are both pumped up. Chris, it kind of boils down to what do you hit better with, contact guys or power guys? Because I think that just answer that, and that makes your choice between Yelich and Davis, at least as far as I'm concerned.
I like his contact. I would really like to see his vision a little higher, especially with Yelich.
Yeah, I kind of like Chris Young's contact.
Yeah, Yelich is going to be gold. If you're going to take the power guy, I would go Davis at that point because with that 5-star, he's 99 power almost.
He's up there. It's like 91, 99. Yeah, and the other thing is always on an inside edge high. Like it's constant with him, and I'm probably not going to play him in the field at this point.
Yeah, he's going to be a bench.
So I think Chris Davis is the move Let's go here. David DeJesus, Eduardo Escobar. Carl, dude, I like Escobar a lot, by the way. Don't know why.
Oh, Shorbs in the chat also mentioned that VMart still has his catch.
Yes, he
Exactly.
does.
So that just goes further to my point about how the heck does Mauer not. But that's all right. That flashback Mauer is going to come out. It's going to be filthy. Everyone's going to be chasing it.
Yeah, it is.
Because there aren't that many good catchers anyway.
So I'm not a fan of the DeJesus card here. I just a little, again, pro tip. Mabin's reaction makes up for his 67 speed. Because the reaction gets you to your top speed faster. Adam Jones is another one of those that has a high reaction but like a medium speed, so that's why he gets to a lot of stuff in center field.
I say Nunez for the flexibility. That it would be my pick. Plus, he also has been getting boosted pretty regularly lately, so that's where I'd go. But if you went with the Maben, it obviously wouldn't be bad. But I bet we get another worthwhile outfielder coming up.
Oh yeah, I don't like the Maben at all. I was just using him to show that the reaction time, but I like the Escobar plus with the flexibility that he has gives our entire lineup flexibility. What do you think, TJ? Yep,
I like it. Do it.
And let's see. Oh my God. So we have a couple different picks here. The David Wright, I'm not a fan of, but his contact versus lefties is amazing, and that's not going away.
No, it's like always at 99 on a boost.
Yep, and we've already got a 91 freeze, and that Wright has no other eligibility, and neither does the freeze.
Mm-hmm.
David Peralta, beast against righties, always has that inside edge boost. Matt Kemp has been going back and forth with the inside edge, but he's pretty even across the board hitting wise, and won't hurt you in the field. I'm not gonna lie, Alex Gordon has been a favorite player of mine for a long time.
Let me just make sure we notice something. We still have Brock Holtz
and well, we can put Chris Davis in there. I mean, you mentioned earlier that he's not going to be playing the field, but he can definitely play the field. But this Gordon is not an outfielder, so even though he has great defense, it's only at third and first.
Right.
So I think Peralta's here. He absolutely dominates righties. We could start him and then bring in Chris Davis when they go to a lefty reliever against us, because you know they're going to do that eventually. So start Peralta and then Chris Davis is the backup. I think that's the way to go. And then Holt and Escobar on our bench, being able to go anywhere we want them.
I agree. And one last bronze here for the bench. Jordy Mercer, Pirates, again, mashes lefties.
Wow.
Jose Lopatone, decent backup catcher for the Nats. Scott Van Slyke,
which we don't
Scott
need.
Van Slyke, really good hitter, has first base and outfield eligibility. Or Brandon Geyer, a favorite of mine because of his inside edge. Yeah.
Plus 17.
That happens a lot for him.
Yes, and he kills lefties as well. That's what Geyer's mostly good at. But I like that boost. I'm cool with that. Again, we got tons of flexibility with our Holt and Escobar, so we can afford to take another outfield only guy with Geyer. I think he's the way to go. I've been using him like crazy.
Yep, I love what Paul just said. I love flexibility in my roster, especially in a 3-inning game where there's tons of subs going back and forth. We got Brock Holt that can go anywhere. Trey Turner can go anywhere. I think Chris Davis is going to, or it's going to be Peralta starting with Chris Davis possibly going in against lefties. I think Escobar starts over Turner for us. Actually, let me double check that.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
The only thing I worry about is the arm strength. The 79 arm strength is much better than the Escobar's 64.
What's Holt's?
Let's see
Carl's
here.
not going to be happy if we start him, but that's
61 arm strength for Holt.
Oh yeah, forget that garbage.
Yeah. So I think Holt goes on the bench along with so Escobar starts over Trey Turner, and Holt goes in for David or Peralta, and I think that gives us both Holt and Escobar can move around if we need him to in a double switch. Geyer and Chris Davis, big bats off the bench. Geyer actually some decent speed for base stealing.
And Turner's speed off the bench too.
Yes, absolutely, 7-8. So, and
now,
Casale just in case we need him.
The next strategy piece here is to talk about lineup construction. And I think what people do is they get a little bit too focused on natural, I guess I'll say, for lack of a better word, natural lineup construction, like what you would do for a 9-inning game. I think it is different with Battle Royale. And what I mean by that specifically is that I just put my top two guys as the top two hitters, no matter what. I don't care if it's somebody who doesn't have great speed batting first or second, doesn't matter. Now, we got lucky that Gwynn is our automatic, obvious leadoff hitter. But even if it was, say, Nolan Arenado and Joey Votto were my top two guys, I would make them my top two hitters because you need the most at bats you can get. I understand it'd be nice if we could get two guys on base and then have our best hitter batting third. But in BR, I'm just putting the best guys at the top.
So what I've got so far, and I agree with that because I also think that the clutch rating comes into effect a lot quicker in Battle Royale.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I know it's 7th to the 9th inning in normal. But again, if I've got Gwynn and Freeze, chances are one of the two of them is getting to second base by the time Daniel Murphy comes up. And look at that number right there, that 85 clutch, followed by Brian McCann, who can pretty much hit both ways. The only change I would make here is possibly switch between Carter and Peralta.
Yeah, but then you got three
exactly, and that's why I made that move to start with. I like having the pitcher in this area, the 6 through 8 area, so that way you're not dealing with him.
Especially because we have our best bench bat is better than Escobar and Kane, so that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, sometimes he'll be better than your three guys. In this case, it isn't because Peralta's so good. Honestly, you might switch Peralta with McCann just so that Peralta gets up earlier to face a righty, since McCann can hit better versus can he hit kind of both sides all right, or is he lefty deficient as well, McCann?
No, McCann's actually lefty strength.
Okay, so
good contact and more power.
Yeah, I might switch those two for that reason only, just so that I'm not stuck with my sixth hitter being Peralta and he already switched to a lefty or something. Try to get him up in the first inning there. Still, same thing could happen. You could still get a situation where they have a relief pitcher in, but it's worth the gamble, especially with McCann being able to hit both sides of the plate. By the way, TJ, I can't see it because you're blocking it. What's our overall? Did we get over 80?
We are at 80 overall. 76 contact, 64 power, 61 speed, 70 defense.
What's the highest y'all have seen?
80 overall.
82 is the highest I've seen. It was on a stream by, I forget who it was. I'm so sorry, whoever it was.
81's the highest I've ever had and ever seen. I haven't seen any 82s. What about the lowest you guys have seen? Have you seen anything below 78?
No.
Well,
I haven't.
Yeah, I
think so.
I think they live in that 78 to 82 range, which is good. Obviously, that's the beauty of it. They have those rounds for a reason, but I like that.
Carl, dude, one thing that I will make a comment on, he said Peralta over Murphy. I don't disagree. The reason that I have it set up like this, even though they're two lefties, is Murphy hits righties and Peralta hits righties, but David Freese hits lefties. So I'm trying to go back and forth with that. And I like Murphy's clutch a lot with guys on base.
I like it. I can get behind that.
Yep.
And ideally, with these top four, they should hopefully are all batting in that first inning anyway. So chances of a reliever coming in aren't that great because they just probably won't be warmed up in time anyway.
Yep, agreed.
Yep. Yeah, Carl, dude, we actually saw somebody having the pitcher hit 6 today that tweeted out, which, I mean, interesting.
Yeah. And you're only going to pitch hit for the pitcher probably